YouTube, welcome in to the channel, welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the crazy events circling Dr. Disrespect, the internet's response, and how we should analyze the situation or how we should look at this situation, because there's a lot of factors, a lot of things at play here, and it's important to analyze what's really going on and not draw any conclusions, especially without basic evidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over all the tweets that surfaced regarding Dr. Disrespect and what he allegedly did back in 2020, the responses to that, and then how people have reacted and how we should react moving forward. So I hope you guys, enjoy the video. Before I get really into it, if this is some of the kind of content you like to see, put a like on the video, and if you have any comments or anything about the issues at hand with Dr. Disrespect and you want to contribute to the conversation, be sure to leave a comment, but please keep it respectful or I will remove it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the video. But here we go. So basically what happened yesterday, so let me pull up the tweet here. So basically what happened yesterday was this guy, this disgruntled Twitch employee named Cody Connors at EVOLI on Twitter, or X as it's now coined against our will, said that he, meaning Dr. Disrespect, got banned because got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text, case closed, gang. And then in reply to support this claim, he said, "No one made the wrong decision. F him and his boys." So obviously, like, this person here has a very extreme claim against Dr. Disrespect, the two-time, who's been on YouTube ever since he was banned from Twitch in 2020. But this claim is a big claim here. This is claims of pedophilia, attempts to sexually exploit a minor. So it's a very big deal. It's a very big claim. But we can see that there's also some distaste in Mr. Connors' mouth regarding Dr. Disrespect's character, the decisions made by Twitch in that reply. And it is understandable that if you believe somebody, or if you've seen evidence of somebody engaging in the kind of activities that Dr. Disrespect is being accused of, that one would have this kind of visceral reaction to that, and and rightly so. So that's the claim. That's what was made yesterday. Jake Lucky on Twitter went ahead, and since he's a news source on X regarding content creation, streaming, and things of that nature, Jake Lucky said a former Twitch employee has come forward and stated the alleged reason for Dr. Disrespect's permanent Twitch ban being for quote-unquote sexting a minor in the previous Twitch Whispers product. So Jake just, spreading the news out to people who don't follow Cody or Mr. Connors, to people who follow him, and it obviously reached 6.3 million people, so it obviously had an impact. It reached other people that may or may not have been reached under Mr. Connors' influence. And then Dr. Disrespect wanted to give a little retort to that and say, "Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract." And then later today, and that created a huge wave of crazy things. But before we get into Dr. Disrespect's final thoughts on it today, let's just go back to the original tweet. So Mr. Connor says he got banned because he got caught Mr. Connor said that he, meaning Dr. Disrespect, excuse me, not Mr. Connors, Dr. Disrespect got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in an existing Twitch Whispers product, and then he was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon, and he was banned subsequently because of that. So here's the thing. Dr. Disrespect has been banned for 4 years. He has been banned for 4 years, and no one really knew why. And so this is the interesting thing. This is the interesting thing, okay? So he got banned. No one really knew why. It was just like one of those weird things that happened that no one could really explain. But then Mr. Connors here 4 years later comes out and says that he got banned because he was trying to sexually exploit a minor. So we got to analyze, first of all, what are the motivations behind Mr. Connors even posting this anyway? Is he trying to do good by exposing, someone who's trying to be a pedophile or someone who is a pedophile? Is he mad at Twitch? Is he mad at Doc for some reason? Now he's just trying to get at him. Because we know Dr. Disrespect's been very outspoken against the LGBTQIA+ community. and it is Pride Month, so there might be some underlying notion there that Mr. Connors is wanting to react to that, and if he's not employed with Twitch anymore, he wouldn't be under those kind of agreements to maybe keep his mouth shut or maybe have an NDA that was only active until his employment with Twitch has ended. So we need to know the motivations here from Mr. Connors, and we don't really have it. All it is conjecture at this point. We can guess what kind of motivations Mr. Connors had, but overall we don't really know. All we know is that he wanted to out Dr. Disrespect's alleged behavior for the world to see. And if that alleged behavior is pedophilia, honestly, I think that's honorable to try to get those people exposed and held accountable and brought to justice, with the powers that be. So, but we got to further analyze here. The timing of the tweet was just weird. It happened like here the last week of Pride Month, June 21st was when the tweet came out. At 7:30 at night is when it came out, at least my time. So it's just interesting that the tweet was what was made, because Kick as opposed to Twitch, has been largely in the crosshairs as well for pedophilia with Heel Mike and other streamers, but who have since been permanently banned for them trying to sexually exploit a 16-year-old at the time. And while there are some states that have the age of consent being 16, if you are 18 or over, the age of consent doesn't really matter. It's still statutory violation, because the 16-year-old is still a minor. So regardless, Heel Mike and them get permanently banned. That's a whole other issue. But Heel Mike and them get permanently banned, as they should, for what they did. Kick's been under the crosshairs for that. And then a Kick employee recently came out and spoke against the company, similar to what Twitch is doing, or what this disgruntled Twitch employee, Mr. Connors, is doing to Dr. Disrespect. The Kick employee made a video and had their face out there, and they said that Kick had some issues regarding racism and homophobia, and some bullying in the workplace. Now, granted, this Kick employee, she put her face to it, she spoke about it, and for me, that takes a lot more courage and a lot more bravery to throw your face to the accusation, because it kind of adds more veracity to it. You're putting yourself out there, your name, who you are, what you look like, and all that. You're putting yourself out there for that, and that takes a lot more bravery and a lot more trust in your claims than just tweeting about it. Not saying that Mr. Connors' tweet is incorrect. I'm just saying that it takes a little bit more courage to do what that Kick employee did versus what Mr. Connors is doing regarding just sitting behind a phone and tweeting. Now, I can say the same for that for anybody who tweets. It's obviously a lot easier to tweet something than to put your face to it, and to stand behind what you say in that regard. So, but Mr. Connors' tweet, we just got to know the timing of it. Like, why did it come around here at the end of June? Why did it come attacking Dr. Disrespect and not the way that Twitch might have handled the situation, which we'll get to at the end of this video. But that is just an interesting thing. Like, the timing is weird, especially with the digging up a 4-year-old issue during Pride Month and after Dr. Disrespect has said things in support of Nick Merckx over the last few years, which is, leave the children, quote unquote, leave the children alone, which for Dr. Disrespect seems now a little ironic, based on this alleged claim. But we're gonna go back to Dr. Disrespect's response right here, which is, Jake, seriously, I get it, it's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. And what sent the media into a frenzy yesterday was the was acknowledged part. So basically what the internet saw here, and what X saw here, or Twitter saw here, when Dr. Disrespect tweeted this, get it's a hot topic, but it's been settled. So he's basically saying, whatever's happened has happened. There's nothing we can do about it now. This is kind of what he's been saying. It's an old topic. It's a 4-year-old topic. Why are we bringing it up now? But no wrongdoing was acknowledged. And this is what sent media crazy, is because they're basically saying no wrong, and they paid out the whole contract. So basically, he's saying that when he was banned, he wasn't told, or he wasn't basically punished in a way that there was any wrongdoing initially. Is basically what he said. Like, if there was any wrongdoing, Twitch didn't talk about it. They didn't punish him for it. They didn't do anything like that regarding the wrongdoing. But it doesn't mean, but basically X and Twitter are saying that doesn't mean that any wrongdoing did not occur. Basically what Twitch is saying, or what Twitter's saying, is that Dr. Disrespect is wrong, and he knows he's wrong, and it wasn't acknowledged when Twitch banned him. based on Dr. Disrespect's wording, which is definitely like I can see the reason, like the reasonability of like of analyzing that statement and going that way. But this is also a very it's obviously a very legalistic way to say to basically to plead no contest. So basically, if you plead no contest in like a traffic violation or anything like that, you're basically saying, I don't care if I'm guilty or not. I'll pay the penalty. I'll pay the fine. I'm not saying I'm guilty. I'm not saying I'm innocent, but I'll pay the fine so that way I don't have this hanging over my head. It's basically what pleading no contest is. And saying no wrongdoing was acknowledged is basically what Dr. Disrespect's doing. He's basically saying, hey, even if there was wrongdoing or even if there wasn't wrongdoing, it wasn't acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract as a consequence of my ban. So I took the punishment of the ban, and I took the payment as a result of my contract, and I'm pretty sure Twitch did that as well. So that way, if Dr. Disrespect was not paid, he wouldn't have a claim against Twitch and take them to court for an even larger amount of money. So, and he's already taken them to court, which we'll analyze later as well. But, so basically, he's basically just pleading no contest here based on how I interpret it. So we don't know if he's right or wrong. But it seems like X and Twitter kind of went crazy yesterday and basically said, no wrongdoing was acknowledged, meaning there was wrongdoing and he just didn't get slapped on the wrist for it. Is basically what Twitter analyzed yesterday. So that's the interesting thing. That's the really interesting part of it. So he says the words wrongdoing. There was no wrongdoing that was acknowledged. Now that doesn't mean that he did nothing wrong at all. So as far as with the veracity of Mr. Connors' claim, saying that he was sexting a minor, he may not have been sexting a minor, but he might have been trying to text them and then get them to meet them. So like there's a lot of like if this, if then, but all of these other scenarios that could have happened that could have been wrong, but it wasn't enough to get Dr. Disrespect criminally prosecuted, but it was enough to get him banned off the platform, and then a lot of people signing NDAs so they kept quiet about it so that Twitch didn't get any flack or anything like that. So all that to say, we're still in the dark. We still don't know what really happened. We may never know what really happened. But the internet went into a frenzy yesterday about all of this. Basically, like all of the pedophilia tweets about Dr. Disrespect. And then there was other people, the other side, going, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? Which begs the question, by the way, based on what happened yesterday. Should we hold the innocent until proven guilty standard when it comes to accusations of pedophilia and things of that nature? And that's really what the internet's fighting over yesterday. Should we have the same standard of innocent until proven guilty, which has been set in our laws since the beginning of this country? Should we hold that standard when it comes to pedophilia? That's what the internet was basically arguing about yesterday, as far as on stream or Twitter and everything like that. So it's a very interesting question. It's a very deep question, and I'm not going to get into that today. If you guys have an opinion on it, be sure to leave a comment, but keep it respectful and according to YouTube guidelines, please. But with everything going on yesterday, with all the pedophilia accusations, with all the defenses and people yelling at people for the defenses and the people with the defenses yelling at people for the accusations without any evidence, today the doc posted this. He said, this was at 1 in the afternoon today, so 3.5 hours ago. He said that it got 2.2 million views, so people were paying attention, people were watching. He said, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say since this is the effing internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday. So basically, and this was what I was getting to earlier, so there's legal obligations with the settlement. So whatever Doc and Twitch had going on, and everything coming from Dr. Disrespect's lawsuit against Twitch for him being wrongfully banned, it's pretty obvious that whatever conduct Dr. Disrespect engaged in, that it was not found to be criminally, it wasn't found to have any kind of criminal nature, and he didn't do anything wrong according to the law. And I think that's what he means by nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found. Now, obviously, like, morality in this world is quite relative. And so whether the internet decides there was wrongdoing or not is completely up to the internet, and that's what Dr. Disrespect alludes to with what he has to say something since it's the effing internet. So that's what he references there. He says there was nothing illegal that was done in the face of the law, which kind of goes to, so it's basically a he said thing with Dr. Disrespect versus Mr. Connors. Mr. Connors says he was sexting a minor. Doc says, I didn't do anything illegal. Obviously, sexting a minor would be, I mean, it's illegal in every single state. And so it's very obvious that, you know, if Doc was guilty of that, he would have been prosecuted by the proper authorities and found guilty or not accordingly. But Twitch is not judge, jury, executioner. Neither is the internet. So basically what they found is that he didn't do anything illegal. And he was allowed to say this by an attorney after taking a day to come up with this statement. But he's obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement, and this is something else I wanted to talk about. So with settlement or with lawsuits and things with like that are this sensitive in nature, people typically have to sign NDAs or non-disclosure agreements, is what they're called. So NDA, basically you sign off saying, I'm not going to say any of this stuff publicly. I'm not going to tell anybody outside of the parties the factual pattern of this, you know, case or what went wrong, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because whatever, how things were handled, or if he said something, you know, that was sensitive to the information at hand, it could blow back on either Doc or Twitch or anything like that, which can cause even more legal problems. So signing an NDA basically says, you know, we're legally obligated to not say anything. And it's pretty apparent that Twitch and Doc were both signing NDAs because nothing was said by either party since 2020. So it's pretty apparent that this was meant to be, you know, lock and key. No one was supposed to know about it. All of that kind of stuff. But Mr. Connors here, if he signed an NDA, this obvious alleged incident that he's saying that Doc was guilty of would be a violation of that. But since he is no longer a Twitch employee, I'd be interested to know if he still holds to the legal ramifications of an NDA that he would have otherwise signed if he was sensitive to the information to Doc's issues as is present by his tweet. So very interesting scenario here moving forward. But basically what I want to get to like in conclusion is, you know, is there veracity to the claim? Was the media right in trying to, you know, slam Doc yesterday or otherwise? Should we have the innocent until proven guilty standard for those accused of pedophilia or not? You know, the internet seems to be pretty split on that issue right now. And, you know, Doc obviously says he's not guilty. The 2 times says he's not guilty. He wasn't found guilty of any illegal conduct. That doesn't mean he wasn't found guilty of, like, trying to text them and set up something, because saying, hey, what's up to a minor, I don't think is punishable by law. Even if you have a intent to go somewhere with it, just those words itself isn't enough. It could be enough to get people to watch you, but it may not be enough to completely arrest somebody. So that doesn't mean Doc is not guilty in some form or fashion. He has been found guilty of adultery in the past, in regards to, you know, his marital relationship. So he's already exhibited conduct that is questionable in terms of keeping a relationship pure and unadulterated. Still, though, it's quite a leap to go from adultery to pedophilia. So, you know, we don't know. We obviously don't know, and I'm just you know, rephrasing what the conclusions that people are drawing based on Doc's history. But the other issue is Twitch's involvement. So this is what's going on. So either Doc is guilty based on Mr. Connors' word. So if Mr. Connors is correct and Doc is guilty of this kind of conduct, Twitch had an obligation to report it to the proper authorities, and Doc has obviously not been imprisoned that we know of since that time, which means that Twitch was complicit in Doc's activities and kept it close to the chest with NDAs and other legal barriers, which is bad. That's not good. That can show why they had NDAs signed initially, is they didn't want this to blow back on them, so they just kept it all quiet and closed and shut, and they kept a sexual predator under lock and key, and they just banned him off the platform without giving the reason why. So if Doc is guilty, Twitch is also guilty in some way of knowledge and knowing what was going on and not reporting him to the proper authorities and letting him still be out there on the streets. That's bad. on the flip side, and obviously Doc should be prosecuted if he is guilty as well. He's obviously, the case study here. Him doing what he's doing is also remarkably horrible, and he should be held accountable to that as well, to the fullest extent of the law. If he is guilty of that. If he's not guilty of it, then we have a disgruntled employee who knows, if he signed an NDA, of course, that he knows Mr. Connors would know that he's not guilty of sexting a minor. And if he knows that he is not guilty, if Mr. Connors knows that Dr. Disrespect is not guilty of sexting a minor, then this would go on the lines of defamation, and Doc could have a defamation claim against Mr. Connors, because this kind of claim obviously has hurt his reputation over the last day. Doc could have a viable defamation claim if he is innocent in this regard. And if he is innocent, he is still holding on to the NDAs that were signed with whatever he was banned for. And Mr. Connors would be in the wrong for trying to expose something if he had signed an NDA. Even if he didn't sign an NDA, if he knows what he's saying is not true, it's defamation. But if he doesn't know that what he's saying is true or not, it's not defamation. So it's just a hate spew on Dr. Disrespect for some reason at the end of June. Could be because of Doc's I guess his speaking out against the LGBTQ movement during Pride Month. There's a lot of factors that could have gone into Mr. Connors tweeting that because of a personal vendetta. We don't know. But it's very obvious that there are NDAs signed across the board. These are the scenarios with Doc being guilty versus Doc not being guilty. Final statements, though, on this video. Thank you guys for being here for this long. I understand that this is a weird video. It's a lot. But basically, what I want to say to conclude this is basically we need to be a little bit patient in regards to figuring out what goes on with these kinds of things with big-name figures like this. Because the reality of the situation is the only people who know what actually happened are Dr. Disrespect, Twitch, and the people who probed into the case. So, like, lawyers and people who engage in discovery and, like, all that kind of stuff. We don't know what happened. So drawing conclusions is very difficult for us to do, even with the evidence that we've been provided thus far. We really don't have any idea what's going on. And so that's why, we need more evidence. We need more evidence, whether it's turned up in a courtroom, whether it's turned up in front of our eyes on Twitter, whatever it is. We need more evidence outside of just he said, she said stuff, and then hearsay outside of that. So we need more. We need more to actually draw a conclusion whether or not Doc is guilty of something this heinous or not. But anyways, that's all I have to say about this. This is my analysis over the Dr. Disrespect controversy. So basically, before you judge people, get more information, get more knowledge, and don't forget, guys, to love one another and to just be kind to people. Be kind to people. Love one another. Not saying that if Doc is guilty that he deserves that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, before you speak out against this, and I know this is a very sensitive issue for a lot of people, especially those who are victims of sexual violence and that kind of nature. I know this is a big deal for you. I can't imagine what you've gone through, but I know it's a big deal for you. So, but just take a breath. Let's think about what's going on here. Let's analyze all the facts, and then let's come up with an analysis of what really happened based on what we know. Do we have enough to make any conclusions, and then go from there. So that's basically what this video is about. Before you draw a conclusion, let's think, let's analyze, let's find out the reasons why these things were said. Let's find the reasons why the responses were worded the way they were, and then let's move forward. So basically, that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked this video, be sure to leave a like. And if you guys have anything you want to contribute to the conversation in a nice, respectful, YouTube TOS appreciating way, be sure to leave a comment. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.